Welcome to the new session of Programming for Problem Solving. The topic of the day is arrays. Now, what is an array? An array is a collection of homogeneous data elements that are stored contiguously in memory. All elements of an array are referred to using a common identifier, and individual elements of an array can be accessed using an index value. Now, what is the need of creating an array? Suppose that you want to create or store 1,000 values. For that you will have to create 1,000 variables, which is not feasible. If the data type of all the variables is same, then we can use the concept of arrays in C programming language. Now, what is an array? Array lets you create a collection of similar type of elements under one identifier. So you will be able to create n numbers of variables that can be accessed using a single identifier. And how we differentiate between each element? We are able to differentiate between each element using the index value. Index value of the first element is 0 and the last element is n minus 1. For example, if we create an array of 10 elements, all the elements will be accessed using the common identifier name, whereas the index value of the first element will be 0 and the index value of the last element will be n minus 1, that is 0 and 9, in case we create an array of 10 elements. How do we create an array in C? Declaration of an array is similar to the declaration of the normal variable, except that we also need to specify the size of the array along with it. So what we have to do is we have to specify the size of the array along with its normal declaration. So here is the syntax. First, you need to tell the data type of the array that you want to create. An array is a derived data type. So that means we are deriving it from the already existing data type. So we will mention the data type followed by any legal identifier that we will use to give the name to the array. And then we have the square brackets. So within these square brackets, you are going to specify what will be the size of the array. So for example, int ARR square brackets 10. So what is this statement all about? It is used to create an array of integer data type. The identifier or name of the array is ARR, and within the square brackets 10, which is a constant value, tells you that the size of this array will be 10. Please remember that you can only specify the constant value when giving the size of the array. Variable values are not allowed. Initializing array elements. We can also define or initialize the elements of an array explicitly. In the last statement, what we saw was the declaration of an array and not the definition of the array. The definition of the array is achieved along with the declaration when we initialize its data elements. So there are three methods, as you can see listed here, that we can use to define an array. The first method, initializing all members of the array. As you can see here, we have created an array, or we want to create an array of 5 elements, and within these curly braces we are giving the value of all the 5 elements. The first element is 10, the second element is 101, the third element is 120, the fourth element is 2, and the last element is 76. So what is the first element? The first element is like ARR 0. 0 is the index value of the first element. So what is the value of the first element? The value of the first element is 10. So here we have created an array with 5 elements and we have initialized all the elements. The second method is initializing limited number of members of the array. So we are not going to initialize or assign values to all elements of the array. For example, we create again an array with size 5, but we are only providing the value for 2 data elements. So we are providing the value for the element with 0 index and we are providing the value for the element at 1. So what will happen to the next 3 elements? Because we have only provided the value to the first 2 elements. The value of the next 3 elements will automatically be assigned as 0. Because no value has been assigned, so all the 3 elements will be assigned the value 0. The last method is explicitly not specifying the size of the array. So here you can see, while creating an array, we have not specified the size. So if we have not specified the size, because array is of fixed size, how we will come to know what is the size of this array? As you can see in the within the curly braces, the number of values given are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that means we are assigning 5 values to this array. So what will be the size of this array? The size of the array will be 5. So there is no need to give the size will be automatically picked. How much is the memory allocated to an array? The memory allocated to array depends upon the size. Size means how many elements will the array have. So the memory allocated will depend upon the size, that is the number of elements, and the base type of the array. Base type means which type of array it is, whether it is an integer type, whether it is a character, or whether it is float. So these are the 2 components based on which the memory to be allocated to an array is decided. Please look at this example. In this, we are creating an array. The base type of the array is integer. So what is the base type of an array? It is integer. Now how much memory does an integer take? An integer takes 2 bytes of memory. And what is the size of the array? The size of the array is 4. That means total of 4 elements. So what will be the memory allocated to this array? The memory allocated to this array will be 8 bytes. Now as you can see in this table here, while we create an array with 4 elements, the index number of the first element is 0, the second element is 1, then 2, and then 3. Address. Some random address will be assigned to the array. The first element of the array is stored at location number 100. Where will the next element be stored? 2 bytes after 100, because one element takes 2 bytes. So the second element will be stored at location number 102, third will be stored at location number 104, and the last element will be stored at location number 106. So the total memory taken is 8 bytes, starting from 100 up to 107. 107 because the last element, which is stored at 106, will take 2 bytes of memory. So that means 106 and 107. So this is how the memory is allocated to an array. I hope it is clear to you. The next is how we access the individual elements of an array. Each element of an array is assigned a unique index number. Now all the elements of the array, they share the same identifier name. So how do we access individual elements? We can access the individual elements using the index value, because all the elements, they have their unique index value. Index value for each element of an array is specified using a subscript. Subscript that is given inside the uh, square brackets. So what is the index value of the first element? The index value of the first element is 0, as you can see here. So for example, so this is an example. ARRA is the name of the array. These are the 2 curly braces, and this is the value of the index given as the subscript. Now what is the value of the index? The value of the index is 3. So which element it is? The first element is stored at location number 0, second element at 1, third element at 2, and fourth element is stored at index number 3. So this means that we are trying to access the fourth element of the array. So what is the relationship between 3 and 4? Because the index value of the first element is at 0th position, that means fourth element is stored at index number 3. How we can access all elements of an array in one go? What we saw in the last example was that we could only access single element. But what we want is we want to access all the elements of an array. So how we can do that? We can do that with the help of an loop, because we want to access multiple elements. That can only be done with the help of a loop. All elements of an array can be accessed using a loop structure without having to worry about the size. There is no need to worry about the size. Now this is a for loop that is used to access all elements of an array whose size is equal to 10. So that means total number of elements in the array are 10. So we know that if we have an array with size 10, the index value of the first element is 0 and the index value of the last element is 9. So what we need is we need to run a for loop that starts from 0 and goes till 9. That is why the initial value of I in this for loop is 0. It will go up to I less than 10. Because the value of size is 10, it will go up to 9, because 9 is the largest value which is less than 10. And I plus plus, the value of I will be incremented by 1. Now what we have written inside the for loop is array of I is equal to 5. So initially the value of I will be 0. So that means array of 0 is equal to 5, which means the value of the first element is equal to 5. Then the value of I will be incremented to 1, which means the second element. So the value of the second element will also be equal to 5. And in similar way, we will be able to assign 5 to all elements of the array. So you can see there is no need to worry about the size of the array. You can simply use a for loop to access all elements of the array in one go. Now, if you wanted to write this or wanted to access an array with 1000 elements, then simply the value of size would have been 1000 here, and the loop would have automatically started from 0 up to 9, 9 and 9. I hope this concept is clear. So we will move to the next one. This is a simple program to print the array elements in reverse order. So what we are going to do, we are going to print the array elements in the reverse order. For that, we are creating an array of size 5. The for loop will start from 0 and will go till less than 5. So 4 is the greatest number which is less than 5. So it will start from 0 and it will go till 4. So what we are doing is enter the number percentage d of the array, that means index. So initially it will say enter 0, number 0 of the array, enter number 1 of the array, enter number 2 of the array. Now how we are going to accept the input? We are going to accept the input like this. Name of the array is ARR. The value of the index will automatically be incremented by 1 starting from 0 and will go up to 4. So one by one, we will be able to access all the elements of the array. So this is the first element and this is the last element. Now what we want to do is we want to print the array elements in the reverse order. When we will print the array elements in the reverse order, this will become the first element and this will become the last element. So we have to start from here. So how we can start from here? Index is equal to 4. So that is how we are able to start from here. We have to move one step backward. That is why the value of index will be decremented by 1. What is the stopping condition? We have to go up to 0. That is why the condition greater than equal to 0. How we can access individual elements? We can access the individual elements using this statement, array of index. Initial value of the index will be 4 and then it will be decremented by 1 and it will go on till 0. This is how we will be able to print all the array elements in the reverse order. Two-dimensional array. So what we have studied so far is one-dimensional array. Now we can also create two-dimensional arrays. So what is a two-dimensional array? A two-dimensional array is one in which the data is logically represented in the forms of rows and columns, as you can see here. This is a two-dimensional array. The total number of rows are 3 and the total number of columns are 4. So that means the total number of elements in this matrix is 3 into 4, which is equal to 12. So how we can create this two-dimensional array? To create a two-dimensional array, what you need to do is you will use two subscripts. In the previous example, what we saw was single subscript, index value. But here the index will be divided into two subscripts, one for the row number and one for the column number. So here you can see the syntax. This is the base type of the array, then a legal identifier name of the array. Then these are the two subscripts. This is subscript number 1, which will define the size of the row, number of rows, and this will define the number of columns. As you can see in the example, the base type of the array is integer, name of the array is ARR, number of rows are 4 and number of columns are 4. So how many elements will be there? 4 into 4, 16. So total of 16 elements will be created. How much memory will be allocated? Total elements are 16 and the base data type is integer, which takes 2 bytes. So 16 into 2 is equal to 32 bytes. So total memory allocated to this two-dimensional array will be 32 bytes. Initializing array elements. So how we can initialize two-dimensional array? What we saw in the last example of initialization was initializing the single dimensional array. Here we are going to initialize the two-dimensional array. So here you can see the example of the same. We have created an array with the base type as integer. Total number of rows are 3 and total number of columns are also 3. So the total number of elements become 3 into 3, 9. So within the curly braces, we are going to define or initialize the value of each row separately. I repeat, each row separately. Now, how many elements are there in one row? That is equal to the number of columns, which means that every row will consist of 3 elements. Now, here you can see these 3 values, they belong to the row number 1. So what will happen? We will be able to create the row number 1 of the two-dimensional array like this. Separated by comma, after this comma, we have these 3 values which belong to the row number 2. That means 2, 76 and 55. And these 3 elements within the curly braces represent the third row. That means 43, 6 and 11. So this is how we are able to initialize the two-dimensional array. The next is how we can access all elements of the two-dimensional array. The last time we used a single for loop to access all elements of the single dimensional array, but to access the all elements of two-dimensional array, which is logically divided into rows and columns, we need a concept called nested loop. One is called the outer loop and one is called the inner loop. The outer loop, like here in this example, will be used to access one row at a time, and the inner loop will be used to access each element of the row one by one. So let us suppose that we have created an array like this, 10 by 10. So what is this 10? This is our size, number of rows. What is this 10? This is the number of columns, that is C size. So this outer loop is used to access all the rows one by one. So how many rows we have? Starting from 0 up to less than R size, which is 9. So inner loop access each element of a row starting from 0 up to J less than C size. So how we can actually effectively access it? The name of the array is ARR. Two subscripts have been used. One is I and one is J. I will refer to the row number, and J will refer to the column number. So if I say array of 0 by 3, this means the element is stored at 0 means first row and 3 means fourth column. So this is the element which is stored in the first row and is at the fourth position in the first row. So this is how we can access all elements of an array using a two-dimensional array using a nested for loop. A program to print all the elements of the two-dimensional array, like in the example we saw in the previous slide. Here we create a two-dimensional array. The outer loop will be used to access each row one by one, and the inner loop will be used to access each element inside a row one by one. How we can take the input? So there is a little mistake here. It should not have been array of this. Instead it should have been this. So what we have written there, enter number percentage d of the array. So just forget about this statement. We will just focus on this statement, that is scanf percentage d. What we should have written here is ampersand array of row number and column number. So please excuse this mistake. You can forget about this line. There is no need to write this line. And in this line, rather than writing array of index, we are, because it is a two-dimensional array, we are supposed to write array of row number and column number. It has been correctly written when we are trying to display the elements. So the same loop has been repeated again. So the first loop is taking the input, whereas the second loop is displaying these array elements. So this is how we can write a simple program to read and display all elements of the two-dimensional array. I hope this lecture was very useful to you. In this lecture, we discussed what is an array, what is the advantage of creating an array, how we can create a single dimensional array and a two-dimensional array, and we also learned to create a program to access both simple one-dimensional and two-dimensional array. Thank you very much.